Fashion Dolls. Happy Wednesday, May 6th, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. Now, I am joined by none other than, can't even describe how nervous I am right now, but my very special guest is no stranger to speaking out on what we're currently witnessing right now in this world. Shout outs to my girl, Alexis. Hey, Diva. Yes, happy hump day, happy Wednesday. But before of this whole conversation, yes, we're going to dive into everything. I know you guys all have concerns and you watch all of our platforms on a daily. But Coach Steve, you are one of the voices. You and Brett and Ben and the Mycellus brothers, Midas Touch Network, Tendo, all of you each collectively, I want to say thank you, first and foremost, for advocating and being a voice to us, the people who want answers, who are afraid to speak out in such a dangerous time that we're living in right now, which is just like uncanny, paralleled. It's like reminiscent of Nazi Germany in the 1930s. And I myself, I try to educate my supporters and call them my fashion dolls here on my channel. I
hmm
try my best to educate and make sure that I bring awareness to what is going on with the current state that we're in. I'm also in the red state of South Carolina, but I wanted to start the show off because I always do that with my guests, which is give them their flowers. So I want to thank you for being a voice for each and every one of us because at a point in my life, I was scared to even speak out when this. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be friendly here because if you guys have been watching my shows for the past few weeks, I've been tearing him up. But this agent of chaos, because that's exactly what he is. He is a chaos demon. This man, when he got elected and won the presidency, everyone has been inboxing me, and I'm pretty sure you've got an influx of messages, as well as Tennessee Brando, as well as Ben and Brett and the Mycellus brothers over at Midas Touch. A lot of us were just like, where do we go from here? What is going to be our game plan? What is going to be our strategy? How do we navigate and how do we move forward? So I wanted to give you your flowers before we kicked off this conversation and say thank you for keeping us informed. Not only just that, but giving us hope in the dark times that we're having. And I just recently watched your video. I was in the chair getting hair and makeup done before we came on. And I just recently watched the video on Scott Jennings, which we'll dive into a little bit later in the
hmm
conversation because I have some thoughts on him as well to myself. So I wanted to say thank you for advocating for those who don't have a voice or feel as though, my vote doesn't count, my voice doesn't count. Why should I speak out? All of these things, a lot of people are just afraid. We're in a time right now
Yeah.
where they're literally jailing journalists, and we just seen that with Don Lemon not too long ago. So I wanted
Yeah.
to say thank you for speaking out and encouraging others to speak out as well too, as well as Tennessee Brando. And what I love about you both collectively, especially Tennessee, is that he brings humor. And I used one of his sayings here on my show where he said it was too late to put the toothpaste back into the tube. And I said it to one of my girlfriends, and she fell out in stitches laughing. She was like, "Girl, where did you get that from?" I said, "Tennessee Brando, Midas Touch Network. You got to check him out." And so I have been sending some of my fashion dolls over to y'all's channels. I share y'all's videos. I repost y'all's videos and it gets a conversation going, educating the masses, especially in a deep red state where I'm at in South Carolina. So I wanted
Mhm.
to say thank you. So
Thank you. I appreciate that. I absolutely appreciate it. And you talked a little bit about people feeling like, where should I go? What should I do next? When that election happened, I lost so many followers. I think people were just like, dang, I'm done. They were like they were holding on to this hope and watching my content, Tennessee Brando's content, the Midas Touch Network, Adam Mockler watching our content, and we were giving them hope. And I think once this man was elected, these people just said, you know what, I got to turn off. And so we lost so many people on our pages, and it was hard because I wanted to still be able to give them like a little bit more hope, as in like, hey, there's still the midterms, there's still things we could do in our local. I'm a big advocate of like, hey, if the federal election made you a little down, go to your local government and try to affect change there, you know. So it was really hard during that time, but believe me, I feel the same way you do when it comes to like feeling kind of hopeless when you know, just even looking at, we got to deal with this for another, you know, year, 2 year, 2.5 years or whatever it is. Crazy.
Absolutely. And not only that, but I want to say thank you again. I'm just starstruck. I'm in awe, shocked. Like I was nervous. I prayed before the interview. I was like, Lord Jesus, he's on Midas Touch Network. I can't afford to mess this up. What if this goes on somewhere else? So many thoughts running through my mind. But I will say this, how he won was based off of people's fear. Because
Hmm.
you fear immigrants. He kept saying he would lower the price of gases. Gas is now $4 per gallon down here in South Carolina, where I'm at. I was on the phone with my uncle just the other day, and we were having a conversation. And then I went somewhere with my mother as well. And she was like, gas is so high. So I was in the car literally with my aunt, my grandmother, and my mother. And we have a toy poodle as well, too. So I'm a dog mom. Uh, and we were talking about Project 2025. You,
Hmm.
Brett, Ben, Tennessee, Brando, and everybody else, when the election was going on, warning people about Project 2025, as well as some of my colleagues, Conscious TV, Bubs to God, King Jobs, and so many others. We, T.S. Madison as well too. Each and every one of them have warned people about Project 2025. And some of your videos about some of his supporters now coming to sense, seeing that what you voted for is not what you're getting. You voted for lower gas prices, you voted for cheaper eggs, and Tennessee Brando did a whole song about the cheaper eggs. But
You did.
what you voted for, you're not getting. And some of them are starting to wake up and realize that. And I made the comparison that this is not just a this is not just his base. This is a cult. They are
Hmm.
diehard supporters of his. And it's like anything that he does is not enough to move the needle for them. They will, at the end of the day, will they continue to support him. And my thing is this, if you can get people to rally up all on the against of hating trans people or hating immigrants, when these are the people who are here to do the jobs that you won't do, these same exact people are now starting to see exactly how it's impacting their businesses. And I have a
Hmm.
running saying with my friends, Coach Steve. I tell them this and I have them screaming every time we do a panel. um, I say, how do those eggs taste now for you, bitch? How do they taste now? Now that you voted for this, your eggs, yes, eggs are going down, but your gas prices are skyrocketing. In LA, I'm not in LA. Coach Steve, I'm not mistaken, is in Cali. Gas is
Yes.
up like what, $7 per gallon. Someone showed a picture of
Yeah.
it, 7.99. $4 down here, 3.99 down here in South Carolina. And you have I call him Ladybug Lindsey Graham, who is a Trump loyalist,
Hmm.
running around here saying we need a ballroom. Let's build a ballroom. Let's build a ballroom for $400 million. No, what we need is universal health care. What we need is women to have their bodily autonomy. And Coach D, you made a whole video about masculinity, and I absolutely shared it with some of my colleagues as well too. um, and it really has made an impact in their life. You have daughters, and a lot of
Yep.
men voted in this election because they voted for him because they did not want to. We're just going to put talk about the elephant in the room. They did not want to elect a black woman. She was
Nope.
black
And
and she was a woman.
yep.
Go ahead,
And
Coach.
you
I'm
know,
sorry.
yeah, if you go back to inflation and all that, right? At its core, most of these people didn't understand that we had global inflation at the time Joe Biden was president. And inflation got up to 9%. And then it was trending down. It was at 3% when Joe Biden was removed from, you know, wasn't president anymore. And the people who if you pay attention even now, they will still bring up that inflation was 9% under Joe Biden. They won't say that it came down to 3% before the election, because saying that would mean that they would have to admit that inflation is higher now than it was when Joe Biden left office, because it's at 3.3% now. We also have higher unemployment rate right now. So these people voted for racism, misogyny, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, and honestly, they're getting that. That's the only thing that they're getting out of this election. They did vote for egg prices, gas prices, but at the end of the day, they don't even care about that. They actually will pay more as long as Donald Trump comes out and says mean things about black people, Hispanic people, gay people, trans people, and so forth and so on. That's the worst part about this. And so when you say that a lot of these people would vote for him again, the reason that they would is because at the end of the day, they think, hey, at least he's still a racist like me. At least he's still sexist like me. At least he's still homophobic like me. So most of these people, they're getting what they voted for. As much as, I'll do a lot of, FAFO videos. And a
I
lot of the
love
times
them.
when I do these, yeah, thank you. When I do these FAFO videos, when I look at it, some of these people, they're not actually in the find out. Yeah, they, believe me, their pocketbooks are feeling it. But for them, a lot of these people just feel like if they can make one liberal mad, if they can see me upset about some decision Donald Trump made, they feel like they're winning. And that's what's pathetic about these people. I pull no punches with these people. I call them dumb. I call them stupid because that's what they are. They're right now being scammed by the people that they voted for. They're literally being scammed. Donald Trump still sends out campaign, finance letters, or they're able to donate to his campaign still. They got these. Just made a video this morning that I'm going to post later today about these Trump phones that they were supposed to get, the crypto scam, the NFT scam. They're just literally getting scammed by him over and over again. But at the end of the day, if they see you post that you're upset because Donald Trump said this about the trans community or the black community, they feel like they are winning. That's the day they really feel like they're winning. These people will be homeless, standing in line for free food and still think they're winning because Donald Trump is president. That's it.
And someone posted a video. I'm so glad you mentioned that because remember, you
Mhm,
guys, Fashion Dolls, when they were doing when there was there still is a shortage on food, when they were doing donations, giving out resources to people during the storm. Some people lost power and everything. Someone posted a video and said, "Where's your red hats now?" Because they will wear those red hats. They have taken off the hoods and replaced them with red hats. Again, keep in mind, I'm in South Carolina, so we know the history of racism. The Confederacy is deep down here. It runs deep. You have Nancy Mace, you have Tim Scott, and you have Lindsey Graham, who is a Trump loyalist. When they were trying to decide on whether or not they were going to fund, ICE doesn't need to be funded. We don't need them. We don't need them at all. We don't need
mhm,
them at all. Three people lost their lives, and we're seeing people be attacked. We're seeing people be pulled out of their vehicles. We're seeing people and children and daycares terrorized because of
mhm,
this right here. We don't need ICE. And now they're trying to flip it and say, well, they're nice.
hmm,
NICE. No, no, no. We don't need ICE at all. What this is statewide terrorism. And what ICE is slave patrol, in my opinion, if you ask me. So since they want to say we're so great and oh my God, Trump is the greatest. What I did was I posted
mhm,
something on back last month in April on the 13th on my Instagram. Y'all go and check it out. And it's basically showing you a comparison and contrast from Biden's term in office to Donald Trump's last year. What is his first year in office? Okay. So gas was $3.12 a gallon under Joe Biden. The GDP, 3.2%. Jobs created 2.2 million. And Trump's net worth, 3.2 billion. Gas under Donald Trump is now 417. Again,
mhm.
ooh, throat kind of scratchy, y'all. There we are. Hey, Alvin. Shout outs to my colleague Alvin, tit for tat, this and that. But the GDP is 0.5%. Inflation is 3.3%. And jobs created, jobs have went down under him as a result of
Mhm.
everything that he's doing because he's laying people off. and his net worth is now 7.3 billion.
Yes, that is crazy to me that these people. So it's always crazy to me that they will argue on behalf of billionaires becoming more billionaires. I was having this conversation with one of my coaches today, and telling him that how poor people don't have lobbyists. And he's a young guy who's just starting to kind of learn a little bit about politics, right? And I'm telling him, no one ever talks about corporate welfare. Everyone talks about welfare that goes to poor people, and it's because corporations have lobbyists. There's people that are in the halls of Congress right now, paying them money, giving them kickbacks or whatever, to make sure that they write legislation, vote for legislation that impacts them in a positive way. Those same people are the people who are feeding you these stories about the guy sitting in his parents' basement playing video games all day, just living off of food stamps and our tax dollars. Like, we have a 4% unemployment rate in this country. And I was telling him, I said, you know what company employs the most welfare recipients? Walmart. Why is that? Because they will have these people work 30 to 35 hours a week, so they don't have to give them any type of benefits or anything like that. They won't pay them a livable wage. And so those people are the ones who are getting welfare. So when you hear these stories about all of these people who don't work and they're just living off the system and they're living off the taxpayer, they don't exist. The welfare in this country goes to corporations. These made up, welfare queens and just they don't exist. It's horrible that they do that, but again, it's because poor people don't have lobbyists, and the Republicans have done a great job of making poor people hate other poor people on behalf of a bunch of billionaires getting themselves another yacht. I mean, think about it. Joe Biden wanted to pay off people's student loan debt, and they fought tooth and
Yes.
nail for that. Where's that money going to come from? Where's it going to come from? We don't have the money for that. But when we shoot a bomb at someone, no one ever asks where that money came from. It just happens to happen. We always have money for wars. We always have money to give, tax breaks to the rich, but we seem to never have money to help out the poor. And that is because, again, poor people don't have lobbyists. Rich people do. That's why they keep getting the tax breaks, the kickbacks, and all of that. And that's why poor people aren't getting anything. That's why people are still waiting for their Doge dividend, because Donald Trump does not give a damn about one poor person or helping one person in this country.
And now you have his economic counsel, Kevin Hassett, touting that American credit card spending is a positive as a report of the debt surpasses as the annual GDP. So who's benefiting from this? And Coach D, I'm a fashion girl at heart. So a woman has to look good at all costs. But the Met Gala was this week. Guess who the Met
Mhm.
Gala was backed by? Jeff
I'm
Bezos. Who
sure.
is Jeff
Yes, I was
Bezos?
gonna say,
Do
yep.
you ask?
Amazon.
TV? Jeff Bezos was one of the oligarchs sitting in Donald Trump's in that cabinet. I call it a cabinet full of oligarchs when he had his inauguration and he was sworn in. You had Elon Musk, you
Mhm.
had Mark Zuckerberg, you had Peter Thiel. Who is Peter Thiel? Peter Thiel is responsible for why we have couch fucker Vance, JD Vance. Who else was there? Oh, Elon Musk was there as well too. Who is Elon Musk? He was the one who promised you guys those dividends, those $5,000 dividends that you will not see. And even I said that. They're going to shit. They make promises to you and you're not getting anything in return. The only one who is benefiting is the 1%. And as my colleague Alvin just said in the comments, Coach D, he says, hey, Coach D and Miss Stevie, and the Bush administration trickle down effect. Someone just said that not too long ago. Why is it whenever a Republican gets in office, they leave a mess and Democrats have to come and clean it up? You were
Yeah,
great under Biden. Go ahead, Coach D. I'm
that
sorry.
no, that trickle down has never and will never happen. It's so funny because if trickle down economics actually worked, there would be no one that would be asking about raising the federal minimum wage. Like, the if trickle down economics actually worked, you know who the richest people would be in the world? People working the cash register at gas stations, because the oil and gas company are raking in trillions of dollars. So if that were going to trickle down to like the lower level people, no one would have to be asking for any type of raising of the minimum wage. We wouldn't need that. It has never trickled down. What we have found, what has been found in studies have shown that when these companies make more money, they're what are they? The people who hold their stocks, right? Those people make more money. Those people buy more yachts, buy more sports cars. That never, ever, ever trickles down. And it's crazy that somehow the Republicans have fed a bunch of people, the middle class and working class people, that this is actually going to happen. And so what they tell these people is, hey, you can become a billionaire too. And if you become a billionaire, you wouldn't want your tax dollars just being taken away from you as well. And how many people I've heard actually repeat those dumbass lines drive me crazy. Like the chances of you becoming a billionaire, you have a better chance of being struck by lightning twice. I mean, let's be real. Like, and so for people to think that, and not to mention, I was having this conversation with my coaches today as well. I don't even know. I don't understand the 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 narcissism and just the stinginess that goes into being a billionaire. Like, you'll never ever spend all of that money. I always say, like, I know a number that I could get to as far as my income goes, that I would never have to worry about anything again. And that's not even $1 million a year. Like, you don't need that kind of money. So imagine being worth 800 billion, 200 billion, and then being actively involved in taking money away from poor and middle class people. That's what Elon Musk did with this whole Doge group. They were firing people, they were taking money out of the hands and out of the pockets of people who were poor while making money and becoming millionaires and billionaires.
Us, us.
Yeah.
And it's so
Yep.
crazy that you mentioned that, Coach D, because not only that, but they are wasting our money. Why are we at war with another country that didn't do anything with us that Obama negotiated with? President Obama and Joe Biden gave this man two great economies, and now he is taking them and he is literally using it for his own political gain. Not just that, but taking us down the drain. We are not getting anything in return. I have seen people had to sell their plasma in order to pay the next month's rent. I have seen people had to make sacrifices on whether to pay for their insulin or to keep food on the tables. That's a tough time for everybody right now. Everybody is suffering. I'm in the red state of South Carolina, so you already know we got McMaster's and we got Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham will not do anything for the people. I call him Ladybug Lindsey over here, Coach D. That's my nickname for him. But he is not going to do anything. And it is non-Republicans who are up for re-election down here where I'm at in South Carolina. And Coach D just said this a few minutes ago. Make sure that you're voting in your state, local, and federal elections. It's important. If you want the change in your community, it starts with electing people and officials who you feel will be the voice for you. If not, you can run yourself. And I've had that question. I'm only 32 years old. So no, y'all not about to stress me out. I am too pretty and too fabulous to be running, honey. But I ain't gonna do all that. But I will speak truth to power. I will speak truth to power, and I will continue to use my platform. And that's off of the strength of each and every one of us together. We have to continue to keep educating our people because what they're doing is they have now, even with the new Paramount Warner Brothers merger, guess what is up under that umbrella? CNN. Coach D
Hmm.
just dropped a video on Scott Jennings. We're going to get to him in a minute. I'm holding off. But see, it's important because what they can control what you see and what you hear. And if they can control the narrative and put it out there, as Republicans always, what do they say they always do? They do what's called the spin. They get up there and they
Hmm.
deny all, like what's his name? Homeboy just did right here. Kevin Kevin Hassett, who basically just touted that the American credit card spending as a positive, downplaying the costs going up, everything is going up, inflation is going up, the cost of living is going up. People are having to make sacrifices, literally. I know people who can't even afford their health care. Your health care premiums are going to skyrocket. One of my colleagues just said that yesterday. Shout outs to Conscience. Conscience was saying that by the end of the year, you're going to see a difference in your health care. But see, that was his game plan ever since he got in office, was to attack the Affordable Care Act. Republicans
Hmm.
refused to negotiate on extending the ACA subsidies. They refused to do that. And especially
Yeah.
Moses Poindexter Mike Johnson, who is a Trump loyalist.
I always say, do you know how easy it would be in this country for us to have free or affordable healthcare, free or affordable college, housing? It would be so easy. The amount of money that we spend on these wars, like you brought up the Iran war. You know,
Yes.
the Obama administration signed the JCPOA with Iran. That was going to limit their nuclear capabilities in, kind of in exchange for, some sanctions relief, right? They had not in any way, and you ask any Trump supporter, even anyone in their administration, if they violated any of the conditions of that JCPOA, and they will say no, or they won't answer the question because they can't be honest about it because they did not. They didn't violate any of the parts of that JCPOA. So why are we at war with them? And now we look so dumb, right? We they closed off the Strait of Hormuz, and then we went and we created a blockade for something that they had already blocked. And now they're saying they wanted to go back to where it was before the war. The fuck did we start the war for then? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we started the war. And now you want things to go back to where it was before the war. Had you not started this war, the strait would be open, those ships would be floating through there, and our gas prices wouldn't be where they are. And now our gas prices are never. I don't see this end in sight because Iran does. They're not playing by the same rules as America is, and they don't care. And Donald Trump thought this was going to be easy. Oh, it's going to be 2 to 3 weeks, and then it was 4 to 6 weeks. Now we're past 2 months in this war, and they have no end in sight. They have no idea how we're getting out of this war, and we're just spending billions and billions of dollars on it.
Wait a minute, Coach D. I'm gonna cut you off. No, they don't have
Hmm.
an idea. They have a concept of a plan. Because remember, his ass was asked about healthcare. He said a
Hmm.
concept. We have concepts of plans. I have concepts of what I want my hair and makeup to look each and every day. But we need healthcare in this country. People are dying. Women are
Yep.
losing their life-saving care. And I'm pretty sure you guys just seen the most recent Supreme Court decision where they put the abortion pill back out there for a little bit so that women could have access. And my advice to my, because the majority of my audience is women. They watch Style by Stevie, but men watch the show as well too. So for my ladies, I want to tell you, go and stock up. Go and stock up while you can. Get what you
Hmm.
can, because it's sad to see a woman's bodily autonomy taken away from her. It's sad to see queer people have their bodily autonomy taken from them as well too. With the recent, especially with the vote, we'll talk about the Voting Rights Act in Section 2, them gutting that. But when they
Hmm.
overturned Roe versus Wade, I was like, wow, this is where we're at. And now he's talking about adding more judges to the courts. There's even rumors floating around, and I don't know how true this is, but he's talking about adding Ted Cruz to the courts. And what did Ted Cruz do when his constituents were stranded in a natural weather disaster? He left them.
Took
He
off.
fled. And there's the picture of
Yep.
him on the jet. This man called your wife ugly, and you didn't say a damn thing about it.
Oh,
And
I
there's
talk
literally a
about that.
phone banking for him. Go ahead, Coach D.
No, I talk about that all the time. I always say my wife has to know that I got her back. Like, there's no way you're gonna call my wife ugly, say the things that Donald Trump said about his family, and now I'm gonna be sitting there making cold calls for you. Like this, like what? Like, I'm sorry, man, but my wife has to know that I'm going to bat for her. I'm not gonna be in your administration. And did you? There was like about maybe before Donald Trump became president, maybe after, but Ted Cruz, his wife and his daughter were on stage with Trump, and Donald Trump said something, and the wife started to like clap, and the daughter grabbed her hand and said, "Don't clap for him." Ted Cruz, his family does not respect what he does. I'm surprised his wife is still with him. Honestly, like you call my wife ugly and say the things he said, and think I can go back home and just look my wife in the eye after I'm working for this man and out there just bootlicking for him. I mean, and the amount of things that the Marco Rubios of the world, even Pete Hegseth, Ted Cruz, Christy Nome,
Breath.
all those people said so much stuff about Donald Trump. They knew exactly who he was before they became a part of his cabinet, and now they're just pretending he's not. And before I want to get to you, let you say what you're going to say. Tucker Carlson is exactly the same. There are text messages from Tucker Carlson from years ago where he says, "I hate Donald Trump. I can't wait till we can get rid of this dude. I can't wait till we don't have to be up under him anymore," whatever. All of those people are pretending now that they like him. And I'm telling you now, when Donald Trump is gone, when he has no more power, watch how many of them try to walk back all of this shit that they were complicit in. Watch how many of them try to pretend that they didn't like him, try to pretend that they didn't have his back and all that. I'm telling you, and you're right. I think Tit for Tat said they worship power and money. Every single one of them does. That's the reason why they're in that cabinet. They want the money, and they're hoping to somehow be able to capitalize off of these MAGAs and find their way in the White House as well because of Donald Trump.
I love it, Alvin. It's like you already know what I'm going to say. Miss Southern Belle, Lady Graham. Yes, Lindsay. Ladybug Lindsay. It's something in there for them, even with the new shift that we're seeing, Coach D, and I'm pretty sure you're seeing it as well too. And I've seen some of your videos, Tennessee Brando as well too. We can never let them forget the harm that they have caused joining on along with this fascist. Because let's be clear, I don't call this an administration. I call it a regime because they are governing just like Adolf Hitler did in Germany back in the 1930s. And they are loyal to Donald Trump by default. They are loyal to this man. The new AG that has taken place since Pam Bondi was fired, Todd Blanche, they are whatever's in those Epstein files, they are not willing to release it to us. Some of it is out, yes, but it's heavily redacted and it's protecting him and they're protecting him. Shout outs to my girl, Faith is the Substance. She will be on at 6 p.m. Y'all make sure y'all head on over and subscribe to her channel. And she says salutations and hi, Coach D.
What's up?
Yes, but this is what I was saying. Like Diva just said in the comments, they are addicted to power and money. And Marco Rubio, at one point in time, you actually stood for something. But I want to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie is now singing a different tune. Donald Trump told you no, and now you're a woman scorned, and you're revealing everything that we already knew, which is he's in the Epstein files.
Yeah, I personally do not trust or like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I will never forgive a Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is the worst. And the fact that she was complicit in all of what Donald Trump did. You got to remember, she was basically the leader of the MAGA movement. You mean to tell me they want us to believe that she has not sat in rooms with Donald Trump and heard him say the things that he says about women and young girls and all of that? She started some like coalition of women for Trump. And now she's out there saying Trump doesn't like women, Trump doesn't respect women. We all knew that. You knew that, Marjorie, when you got it, when you became a part of that administration, and now he basically just kicked you to the curb like he does everyone, and now you're out here saying the things that we've been saying for the past 10 years. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene to me can kick rocks. Like I don't care what she ever says. Like if people think it's cool for us to use her because she's saying the things that we're saying, and maybe she can get some things done, fine, whatever. But she will never be someone that I trust or that I welcome in or anything like that. Like I'm not for it. I will never forget and I will never forgive these people for what they've done to this country and the residual effects that we're going to have to deal with for the next 10, 20, who knows how many decades we're going to be dealing with that.
Oh, and there's something else, Coach D. He said he wanted to run in
Hmm.
what? He wants 8, 9, 10 more years.
My goodness.
Bitch, you ain't got that long more from the looks of your hands. You ain't got
Right?
that long more. And I said that yesterday. You 80 years old. Donald Trump is 80 and he was born in the 1940s. You were brought up in Jim Crow. Keep in
Mhm.
mind, for those of you who do not know, his father is a documented Klansman and who attended
Yep.
a Klans meeting in 1927. And a lot of people don't know that. That needs to be amplified. So now you know
Mhm.
where his history of white supremacy and racism, where it stems from. It starts at home.
Yep. Donald Trump is a descendant of racists who, was given a pretty good chunk of money and sent out to basically do what his dad didn't finish, I guess, because that is exactly who he is. And anyone who tries to pretend he is not that, after all the things that he has said about DEI and wokeism and Hispanic community, it's who he is. It's absolutely who he is. And the fact that these people think for a second that it would be a good idea for him to get a third term. The dude is 80 years old now. So we're going to put him in office again. We're going to put someone like that in office again. And the fact that they're willing to just try to negate the Constitution to get this guy again, I, I often have to wonder what the hell is wrong with these people. Like what is wrong with these people? And you can only hope that we don't have to deal with this guy for another 4 years. That's all I'm going to say on that.
My fear, Coach D, is that it's going to be somebody just as dangerous, just as sinister. And a lot of people keep forgetting. I keep reminding y'all, JD Vance wrote the foreword for Project 2025. The Heritage Foundation, Russ Voigt, Stephen Miller, they are there. Those are what, like the shadow presidents. Donald Trump is there front and center. Yes, we see him. But they're the ones who are these ICE raids that we're seeing amping up, these I don't call them detention centers. I call them concentration camps. These concentration camps that are popping up. We had
Hmm.
pop up down here in South Carolina where I'm at. And down the round right down in Columbia, South Carolina, near a historically black college and university. How
Hmm.
convenient. And now you have this congresswoman who's running for election as well to go out here and say, well, we're not going to fund South Carolina State University if I can't come speak on your campus. They said no, they declined the invitation for her to come speak and she's
Yeah.
upset about it. So now
Hmm.
what you see is them saying we're going to defund. We're not going to fund any black colleges or universities, which has always been the thing. We're seeing people be forced out of positions because they are saying no, we're not going to stand for this. They are standing up for the rule of law and upholding the Constitution. This regime does not care about the Constitution. Donald Trump has made it very presently clear, and yes, he will be following old Rudy soon. It looks like I'm dressed for a funeral today, but when that time comes, I have the perfect dress lined up. But not right now. He's still here with us. But when that time comes, I'll have the perfect dress picked out. And then I'll probably message Coach D and my colleagues later and I'll celebrate. But that's a whole nother thing though. But like I was saying, he constantly shows us who he is, exactly, Diva. And it's in real time. What he just recently said about Somalia, it's always countries and predominantly cities that are black and brown districts that
Yep.
they're attacking, that they're going after, that they're saying we're not going to fund, we're not going to help because they didn't vote for me, they didn't pick me.
Yeah. And that's the really unfortunate part. He has always tried to threaten people into liking him, voting for him, supporting him, or whatever. So you have him threatening colleges. He had this going on with UCs in California. Now you have him threatening historically black colleges. He's out there talking about, we're going to arrest Barack Obama. You got indictments on James Comey, one that's already been thrown out, one on Letitia James that's been thrown out. This next one with the 8647 will be thrown out. Like they talked about the Democrats weaponizing the federal government or weaponizing the DOJ. Donald Trump was indicted, got his day in court, his horrible ass lawyers, and then was found guilty of 34 felonies, right? They will never get that out of any of these people, and it's crazy how many of the MAGAs actually believe that they're going to see Donald Trump, I'm sorry, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Anthony Fauci. They think they're going to see them perp walks. And that's one of the things they're most frustrated about. They're like, I voted to see these Democrats be held accountable. Held accountable for what? Like, you guys keep on talking about all these crimes that Barack Obama has committed. If he's committed these crimes, indict him. You guys got the House, you got the Senate, you got the Supreme Court, you got the presidency. If you can't find a way to indict Barack Obama with all of those, it's because you don't have anything. And we all already know that. Like I always say on my channel, they don't do this for liberals. They don't do this for leftists. They don't do this for progressives. They do this for the dumbass MAGAs. They know how dumb they are. They know that these people will do anything to be in Donald Trump's favor. So they're going to donate their money. They're going to buy their junk. They're going to go out and repost their dumb memes and all of that. They will do anything to be in Donald Trump's favor. And that's where we are. And like you said, I fear also that there's going to be someone worse as well. And here's why. These people, all of these Trump loyalists who are going to run for president, they want that MAGA vote. And they know in order to get that MAGA vote, they're going to have to be crazier than Donald Trump was. And they're going to have to make more promises. And they're going to have to actually come through on some of those promises because Donald Trump hasn't. And so that's the scary thing to me is that if you get someone there in they'll never vote for Vivek Ramaswamy, but if you get someone in there who's articulate like Vivek, who looks the part, plays the part, but is way smarter than Donald Trump, which doesn't take much, that's a scary person to have in office. And now those are the people I'm afraid of. And that's why I'm always telling Democrats, we got to get up, we got to show up, we got to make sure that everyone we know are showing up. We got to make sure that our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed with our registration for voting and all of that, because we cannot this is not hyperbole, but this is going to be one hell of a midterms that we need to have, because if the Democrats somehow don't get the House and the Senate, you watch what an unchecked Donald Trump does. You watch what a Donald Trump without the checks and balances of a Democrat House or Senate does for his last 2 years. You think it's crazy now? It's going to get way worse.
And he's already spiraling out of control. Of course, there was a Truth Social post early 4 day this morning, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't hear about it until we're waking up. It's like he wakes up and he grabs his phone, and you see all caps Truth Social. Aaron Parnes, who works for Midas Touch Network, your
Mm-hmm.
network apart too, Coach D. I hate when it comes up. We have breaking news. Trump is spiraling out of control. I was like, let him. Please let him spiral out of control.
Right?
And I'm pretty sure the American people all are thinking, I've seen some of the comments, they are hysterical, but they're just like, maybe if he spies us out a little bit more, then we can get that right, response. And I'm like, maybe, who knows? But um,
Yeah.
I want to talk about what could happen though, what they're already doing, what the Supreme Court is planning to do. Shout outs to Here's Why Kevin. This just in, breaking news. The FBI just raided the office of a Virginia Senator Lucas after she led the redistricting fight. So they're doing exactly what Gavin Newsom said to do, which is great. If Republicans want to redistrict, if they did it in Texas, why not Dems do the same thing? You've got to fight harder, just like Coach D said. Play their game, and then they go and they
Yep.
cry when it's done to them. So this is what they're going to do. We've seen them
Mm-hmm.
do it in Texas. Well, not Texas, but Georgia, excuse me. We've seen them do it in Georgia where remember they sent the FBI in there to raid and get those ballots from what, 2020?
Mm-hmm.
What do you need that information for? What do you need that information for? Who's also in Georgia? A black woman by the name of whom? And I said this on the show yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Fun Willis is in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Why is she on trial? She didn't commit any crimes. If anything, the person you should be locking up and investigating is sitting right here comfortably at Mar-a-Lago. If he's not at Mar-a-Lago, then he's somewhere in the Oval Office saying something stupid. Yesterday, he made a video asking one of the children were in the White House, and he asked them, "Do one of y'all think y'all can take me?"
he I thought the craziest video I saw was him telling those kids at the Easter egg thing that Joe Biden wouldn't be able to color with them because he would have had to use an auto pin. The dumbest man ever to watch this. I just he's just the worst. And so yeah, getting there and then talking about, he also said something in that about if Iran would have gotten a nuke, you guys would all be dead or something. To a bunch of kids. Like this is who we elected as our president. It's crazy. It drives me crazy.
77 million Americans overwhelmingly thought that this would be a great choice over a qualified black woman who was willing to help you. She didn't care about your political affiliation. She
Mhm.
cared that you get your health care in this country. She cared that you're able to afford groceries. She cared that you're able to afford gas. She cared that that you didn't lose your job. This year alone, an estimate of 600,000 African American women have lost their
Yeah.
jobs under this regime. And it's not just black women, but people are losing their jobs. Veterans have lost their homes. You're talking to someone who is the child of someone who served in the Marines, whose brother also served in the Army. Also, not just in the army, but her uncle served in the army as well too. My brother and my uncle served, and my
Mhm.
father was a Marine. So that's a spit in the face to all of the vets out here. But see, he calls them suckers and losers. And I will never forget what he did when he went down there to, what was it, the veteran memorial site. What he did, you're taking out there after they told you not to. See, Donald Trump thinks the rules are for everybody else, but they don't apply to me. That's exactly how a fascist operates. And I will never stop calling him Orange Piggy. He will forever be Orange Piggy in my book. So that's my nickname for him. Now, Paul Lance has a special nickname for him too. Politics by Tabitha. Coach D, you one of the ones I mentioned as well too. Everybody has their nickname for him, but over here I called
Mhm.
him Orange. Hi, Kendra. Hey, girl. We're just chopping it up, but this is what they're trying to do now in South Carolina, where I'm at. In South Carolina, the House of Freedom Member Caucus have called on Governor Henry McMaster to call a session to redraw the state's congressional district map following the Supreme Court's decision last week. Now, what the Supreme Court did last week, in case you guys missed it, was they gutted Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Who's responsible for that? LBJ, the Voting Rights Act. See, if we would have gotten the John Lewis Voting Rights Act passed, that would have been for everybody, a person of persons of color that would have been able to vote. But this is what they're trying to do right here. They are trying to eliminate the state's only black majority district. That's what they're trying to do. So if Republicans know that their game plan and their strategies don't work, why not cheat? And I just did a
And
post
they
also as well. Head Coach D.
Oh, I was gonna say, and they're the ones who started all the gerrymandering, and Donald Trump saying, "Oh, we're gonna get 5 seats in Texas. All they got to do." It kind of reminds me of the Mike Pence thing. The whole like, all Mike Pence has to do is the right thing, and we'll win this presidency. Same with now. All he wants Texas to do is the right thing, and we get 5 seats. And now he's moved on to other states, and they've realized that. Which I like about the Democrats right now is that they're fighting fire with fire. Like they're not just sitting back going, "Oh, that's wrong." No, they're actually saying, "Oh, you're going to do that? Okay, now California is going to do it. Now Virginia is going to do it." So now these are not Virginia, but gosh, I can't remember. I think it's West Virginia. But now some of these blue states are starting to do it as well, and so it's not only leveling the playing field, but it's giving the Democrats a little leg up. And so now the Republicans are screaming, "Oh, this is illegal gerrymandering, or this is unethical." You guys are the ones who started this. Like, come on.
I just did a post also 1 hour ago before I came on with Coach Steve, and it says this. It looks like the Supreme Court of the United States is just going to try to rig the midterms for Republicans. We're just going to put it out there, put it on wax, make it plain, and put it on paper, because they
Mhm.
can't win on their own. And if only people had listened back in 2016. Hillary Clinton warned you, Kamala Harris warned you, everybody warned you, but nobody didn't want to believe that Project 2025 was real. Everybody was like, oh no, he's not gonna do that. He's just talking. Give him some time. We'll see if I've heard some of his supporters literally say that, Coach D. Give him some time and
Yeah.
maybe we'll see some. Yeah, we're feeling the impacts all right. I hope your bank account is impacted because you're not gaining anything. Where at the end of the day, you've got Keg's Breath and Kid Rock out here riding around on your tax paying dollar. Your money is they're wasting your money. You've got Cash Patel, Crazy Eyes. His girlfriend is going to the hair salon, riding on your dime.
Yep.
This is being funded by us. But I also included in the post that the United States Supreme Court is corrupt. It is. The majority six, the
Hmm.
right wing of the court, has been bought and paid for by the Heritage Foundation. And they are assisting Republicans in trying to rig the midterms. That's what's going to happen. The next two elections in our country holds will be the most important in our American history. Over 250 years in America has never elected a woman. So
Mm.
whatever candidate that is coming up, and for me, it's gonna have to be a candidate that's gonna be for the people. You're gonna have to fight hard. Kamala was for the people.
Hmm.
I'll be damned if I give my vote to Gavin Newsom. No shade to him, but I'm a black trans woman in South Carolina. And until you address the issue that black trans women we exist and we are losing our lives at an alarmingly high rate. We're seeing femicide go up at an all-time high. Black women are losing their lives at an alarmingly high rate as well too. So
Mm.
until you address that and you address that we have an issue with racism in this country, no, you won't get no vote for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. So I didn't like Gavin Newsom's take on the trans woman that was competing in track and field. I think we need to, if you don't have something to say yet about trans people, or if you're not, well versed on it, I think you need to deflect to. I think everyone should be respected. I think everyone should be respected no matter who they are, where they come from, what their gender is, their sex, whatever. And Gavin Newsom wasn't able to make that case, and I don't like that. But but hopefully, if he is the nominee, he can do some things to bring people back in. Because I do think that there are a lot of things that were good that have been good about California being under Gavin Newsom, and there's some things that I just disagree with as well. So, and that's okay. Like we can be, Democrats, liberals, leftists, and progressives, and disagree with our person, because we need to make sure that they know that they should be, changing those things that we think are bad. So yeah, I'm really paying attention to what's going on with California right now. Really paying attention to what's going on with these midterms, and everything. It's going to be an interesting time. I know we're getting close to the end here. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting time for the midterms. I don't know what to expect if it doesn't go the way of Democrats. I don't know what to expect.
If Democrats win, and it's by a massive, everybody's saying a massive blue wave could be coming in 2028. Yes,
Mm,
but the thing is, when are more of his supporters going to wake up and realize that you've been duped? This man conned you. He promised you that he would lower gas prices for you. He lied to you and said you were getting it. That was Elon Musk, him and Elon Musk under the guise of Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. Did you get your $5,000 dividend yet? No, you didn't get anything. You got
nope.
nothing in return. But a Trump gold phone, one of his supporters literally did a video of that. I've just got a Trump gold phone. And then he wants to put his face on the US passport. Guess who's going to be footing the bill if this actually goes through? We, the American people, our hard earned
Taxpayers.
American taxpaying dollars, we will
Yeah.
fund that. The whole conversation about tariffs, when they were just like, well, other countries, he had these people actually believing that other countries were
Other
the ones
countries
putting.
pay the tariffs. Yeah.
No, no, it's us. Did y'all see the video in Canada where they said, we going to go on ahead and we gonna pull all of this alcohol up off the shelves. No, we're not paying for that. Get it off out of here. The gentleman over there said he will happily cut off that electric supply to the United States of America and do it with a smile. Those were his
Hmm.
exact words verbatim. And he decided to, oh, we're gonna pause the tariffs for 90 days. This is where the name Taco stems from, because whenever
Yeah.
the fire gets too hot for him, he always wants to back down. Right now, you're losing this war with Iran, and kudos to Iran for the Lego videos. Keep them coming because they are trolling the hell out of you, and they're hurting his ego at the same time. Donald Trump is a pathetic little man, and the more we see him become unbridled and unhinged, the more dangerous he gets by the day. The more he gets his pen and he starts signing policy and legislature that hurts us
Mm.
as black and brown people in this country. Not only that, but trans people, people in the LGBTQIA plus community. And Coach D, yes, we're coming to a close, but I wanted to give you again, you and Tennessee, your flowers again for being amazing, bomb ass allies to us and the trans community, and not only just in the trans community, but to the LGBTQIA plus community as well too. Y'all advocate for us, and I see that in the videos. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry because Melanie dusted my face with this beat today. So I wanted to say thank you. And before we let you go, Coach D, what advice would you give to anyone as far as anything goes on maintaining hope in the time of what people feel is despair?
I think you have to be involved. You got to be involved. Like I'm a coach, I'm a professor. I'm involved with changing the minds and lives of kids that I deal with. And I think if you get involved in your local, your local community, your local elections, it will give you hope. There are so many good people out here. I get to I get to coach and teach a lot of good people. So don't lose hope. There's a lot of people out there, and I think if nothing else right now, there are a lot of people with buyer's remorse with the
Yeah.
Trump administration, and they are definitely. I feel like their support is going to
Okay,
wane a
wrap it
lot.
up.
It's okay. I feel like their support is going to drop a lot because it's just that bad right now. So I'd say have hope that the Democrats can pull this off, and that there are a lot of good people out there who want to change things around.
And yes, don't be afraid to be critical of the people that are running in these positions. Don't be afraid. I would vote for Gavin Newsom, but my thing with him and Bernie Sanders is I want y'all to admit that America has a problem, and it's been here for 400 years. It stems all the way back to slavery. I'm in South Carolina, so the Confederacy runs deep down here. And it is
Hmm.
important that people understand that racism is an issue in this country. Transphobia is also an issue in this country, and we cannot just sweep that under the rug. We need you to talk about it and be upfront, and we need to figure out a solution so that we can stop it because people are being profiled and attacked
Hmm.
based off of the way they sound. They're being kidnapped by these ICE agents. We don't know who these people are behind these masks. The only time they took their mask off was when they were in the airports with TSA. We don't know who these people are. Mask. So we need you to admit there is a country, that there's a problem with transphobia in this country, which is how Donald Trump won this election. In my opinion, I feel you weaponized on people's fears.
Yep.
Fear of immigrants, fear of trans people. When it's not us that's making the gas prices go up, we're not your enemy. The real enemy is the orange piggy that is an occupant, probably somewhere on the golf course, or if not there, he's in Mar-a-Lago somewhere.
No, you're right.
So I wanted to
You're right. I think,
that.
yeah, thank you. And you're right. They did. They have gotten very good at playing on people's fears. It's unfortunate.
Absolutely. My mama's calling me. Yes, that was actually my dad, the Marine vet that I
Okay.
was telling y'all about. So yes.
Yeah,
Um, so again, Coach D, this was so much fun, and I'd like to do it with you again. This was a
yeah,
blast where
for
two
sure.
worlds collide together.
Mm.
You've got the coach and you got the fashion diva over here. So take your pick. So of course, Coach D, let everyone know where they can follow you, and I'll have you tagged so you guys can check out some of his latest videos as well.
Follow me at Coach D underscore speaks on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If there's social media, Blue Sky, you can find me there. at Coach D_speaks.
And also make sure y'all head on over, subscribe to Midas Touch Network. You got Michael Popok and Nina Dow. You've got Ben, Brett. You've got Tennessee. Send Tennessee my love, Coach D. Send him my love and
I
let him know
will.
we appreciate what he's doing. The Mycellus brothers, send them love as well too. Thank you all, you too, Coach D, for just being on the front lines. It encourages me to do what I do because when he got elected, I
Sure.
was terrified. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? What if he targets my platform? What if he comes after me? And I got an email from Instagram. Yes, I wasn't the only one who got that email. I went on Reddit and I did a little research, and there was other people who got the same email as well too. So check your emails. Just don't click that link, y'all. Be careful out here because it's something going on. But tomorrow, joining me, Fashion Dolls, we have D Wit. So make sure y'all tune in. And Coach D, thank you so much. This was such an honor.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Take care.
Bye bye.